Hi everyone, welcome to the technical description video of the Know Your Pokemon application built using Python's Tekinter library. So in this video, I'll be explaining the code behind the application, going through each section and discussing how it all comes together. Let's start. At the beginning of the code, I import several libraries that help in building this application. So these libraries are essential for different parts of the app, like displaying images and fetching data from external sources. Next, this section is for the typewriter animation feature. This function animates the text as if it's being typed out, and it takes in a label, the text to display, an index to track the current position, and a delay to control the typing speed. The function works by updating the label text one character at a time. Next, we have the round button function. This section creates custom rounded buttons using a TK canvas object. Drawn here are rectangles and oval shapes to create the rounded edges of the button, and that also when the button is clicked, it triggers the corresponding function like a search Pokemon function and about us function that we will be discussing later in this code. Next, we have the homepage function, where in this section loads the home screen of the app. And here's what happens. We first clear any existing widgets using widget destroy function, and then we set a background image and display a title and an introductory text using the typewriter effect. We also use the custom round buttons here in Search Your Pokemon, Learn More About Us, and How to Use Buttons, and all of these triggered their respective functions when clicked. Next, to fetch information about a Pokemon, we have the fetch data function. This function makes an HTTP GET request to the API using the request GET method. So we pass the Pokemon name to the API and check if the response is successful, and if successful, we extend the relative data like the Pokemon's name, type, height, weight, abilities, move, and such. And we also fetch additional information like the habitat and description from the Pokemon species data. And also, if the Pokemon is from a generation that's not supported by this application, like anything beyond generation 3, it will return this not supported, which shows a message that the Pokemon is currently not supported. Next, we have the search Pokemon function, wherein this function handles the search functionality. First, it clears the results section, and then it creates a section bar and buttons for the user to input a Pokemon name and search. Now what happens is, if the search button is clicked, it calls this show results function, which fetches and displays the Pokemon data. So this section allows users to either search for a specific Pokemon or use the randomize button to display the data, the random data. Now once we fetch the Pokemon data, we display it in a card format using the Pokemon card function, wherein the card contains the Pokemon's image, which is resized and displayed using image TK photo image. We also use TK frame to create a frame for each Pokemon card, and within it we add widgets like TK label for the image and name, and a TK button for viewing more details. So inside show results, we check if the user has entered a Pokemon name, and if the name is valid, we fetch the data and display it as a card. And if the Pokemon is not found or is from an unsupported generation, we show an error message. Now here's the function for the randomization. The random results function works by selecting 4 random Pokemon from this predefined list and displaying their cards. The reason why I made a list instead of fetching from the actual API is because the API has kind of like a limit and keeps on returning errors. So yeah, that is the show random results function. So in the results, we have this view details button, and once a user clicks on the view details button, we show a detailed window using this show details. This new window displays the Pokemon's image and its basic information like type, height, weight, abilities, and all that. So now we're done with the search Pokemon page. Next we have is the About Us and Instructions function, which have pretty much the same code, and these sections load the About Us and Instructions page respectively. Here in the About Us function, it basically explains the purpose of the application and what it offers. And here is the Instructions function, which basically gives the users a guide on how to use the application. So both these pages use the typewriter effect to make the title text dynamic and engaging. Now let's look at the main window. We create the root window with a size of 800 by 600 and make it fixed or non-resizable. And this is the imported font from Google's font, and the navigation bar at the top with the buttons back to home buttons. And finally, we have a footer section that provides credit to the data source, which is the Poke API. And that's a quick overview of the code behind the Know Your Pokemon app. We've covered the user interface design with Tkinter, fetching and displaying Pokemon data from the API, and the various interactive features like searching, randomizing, and displaying detailed information. If you have any questions or want to know more details about any part of the code, feel free to ask in the comment sections below. And that is all for my technical description video project. Thank you for watching.